Hello everyone and welcome for attending this presentation. I'm Virna Eccli. I work at the International Mobility Office of the Science and Technology area of the University of Trento. I'm here with my colleague Vanina Micheletti, Professor Giandomenico Soraru and Professor Marco Toffolon, and we are very happy to welcome, even though we're only connected by video conference, our colleagues and friends from the group the Grand École, who will present the double degree in France and specifically the double degree with their institutions. I'll give the floor to the professor, so we will all introduce ourselves, and after that the presentation will start.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Giandomenico Soraru, and I come from the Department of Industrial Engineering at our university here in Trento. And I am responsible for the, let's say, international relationship. So if you happen that you have any problem with the setup of the study plan, or if you want to go abroad, please come to visit me and I will try to help you. Just 2 words to say that our College of Engineering, let's say all the departments of engineering, have devoted a lot of efforts in making growing the international relationships, and so we can offer many different possibilities to our students that want to go abroad and to have this international experience. In this case, we are talking about a double degree with the group of the École Centrale in France. And the double degree, of course, is a bit more, let's say, important international experience, because you will need to spend more time in the host university compared to, for example, to Erasmus or other types of projects. But this is also an opportunity which usually gives you more, gives you back more stuff. You will have a double degree, which means to have a card where you go to find a job and you present yourself either as a student with an Italian engineering degree, or in this case, France. The relationship with the group of École Centrale is one of the oldest for our department of industrial and civil engineering, and the group of Grand École is one of the, if not the best, engineering program in France. So it's very I think we are proud of offering to our students this kind of opportunity. And with this, I will leave to Marco Toffolon the stage.
Thank you and welcome to everybody. I will not have much to add to what Giandomenico already said. My name is Marco Toffolon. I am the responsible for the international relationship for the Department of Civil, Environmental and Mechanical Engineering. So I'm available to receive questions from students. So just please, I think that in these days with this, let's say, partial lockdown, it's difficult to come to our office. And so I think it's better that you write emails. So, I mean, you can easily find my email on the website of the University of Trento. So I hope that you will enjoy this possibility and then, let's say, possibly go to France to make this beautiful experience. Thank you. I think that probably now Virna will introduce some general concepts, and then Professor Simon Davis will give you an introduction to the possibility offered by this double degree and other mobilities with the École Centrale in France.
Yes, well, I'll give a brief presentation after Professor Davis's one. I will give a brief overview of all the mobility programs offered by the University of Trento, but I think it's better if we give space and time to Simon Davis, so students who are perhaps in a hurry because they're on their lunch break can really benefit for this unique opportunity. So thank you, Simon.
Okay, so well, good morning, buongiorno. I'm afraid my Italian is very limited. That's about all I can do, so I apologize for the presentation in English. But hello everyone. So my name is Simon Davis. I'm a teacher at the École Centrale de Lille in northern France. I'm just going to give a very short presentation in a few moments. Perhaps maybe let my two colleagues introduce themselves first before we go any further.
Hello, so I am Fabien Selmet. I am a professor of mechanical engineering and energetics at École Centrale in Marseille. And I am involved in international relationships and in particular with Italy, but also with Germany.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Alberto Bosio, and I am a professor in the École Centrale de Lyon. I'm with the Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering. And let's say I'm involved as the responsible for the Italian relationship with the École Centrale. So, thanks.
Okay, thank you. So let me just share my screen so you can see my presentation. Is that okay for everyone? Can my colleagues, can you see the presentation? Okay, perfect. Okay, so just before I start, I would just like to say a big thank you to our I'd like to say friends and colleagues in Trento, because as was explained, we've been collaborating for a long time now, and we're always very happy to collaborate, and we send students from France to Trento, and we always hope to receive students from them. So thank you very much. Particular thanks to Verna and to Marco for organizing this event. This is the first time, or on a personal basis, this is the first time I've done a presentation like this. So it's good that we can test out new technologies, but we hope that you will have the opportunity to hear the presentation, learn a little bit about what we do. And of course, if I understood correctly, there is the opportunity to ask questions through the chat. So if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate, and we will do our best to answer them as we do the presentation. So we are here to represent the 5 Écoles Centrales in France. So we're engineering schools. Before we go any further, I have a little map to show you. So this is just to indicate where we are located. So as I said at the beginning, I work at the École Centrale de Lille, which is in the north of France, up here in as you can see. And my colleagues are from various schools. So Fabien, as he said, is from Marseille, right down in the south, and Alberto from École Centrale de Lyon. But in fact, there are also other schools. There is one in Nantes, and there is one in Centrale Supélec. Unfortunately, all colleagues couldn't be present this morning, but we are here to represent the 5 Écoles Centrales in France. So we can give you any information you would require about each of the 5 Écoles Centrales. And just for your information, we also have some overseas schools. The first one we set up quite some years ago now is in Beijing, in China. So we have an École Centrale de Beijing, where we also train Chinese students to become engineers based on the model that we have in Centrale. In India, Hyderabad, in North Africa, in Casablanca, and in Mauritius. So we have some bases based around the world. So what exactly do we do? What is an École Centrale? Well, very briefly, we are a grande école in France. So these are schools which are quite a high level of education, which recruit students, normally French students, after some 2 years of preparation. The students have to take written and oral exams in order to be selected by us. And when they come to École Centrale, they do not specialize initially in an engineering degree. They cover all areas of engineering. So we have what we call a multidisciplinary approach to teaching engineering in the school. In the first 2 years, students cover a wide knowledge of numerous scientific and technical disciplines. So they may do mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, but also civil engineering, computer engineering, chemical engineering. So all engineering fields are covered so that students can have a broad overview and a global vision of all problems related to the engineering fields. In addition to engineering, students also learn what we call the soft skills. Students have to do 2 foreign languages when they are in the Centrale. All students do English, and then they can also now at our school. So for us, communication is very important. As I said, also soft skills. So students learn about management, teamwork and project work. Projects are a very integral part of Ecoles Centrale. So students work together in groups on many projects covering different types of engineering domains. We also have very close links, as I will explain later on. We have very close links to industry. While students are at our school, they can benefit from internships. There are internships which students have to do every year. I'll explain that a little bit later on. But they also have access to job fairs and to conferences. Many of our professors and tutors in Ecoles Centrale come from industry. And so students have a very first-hand approach to industry and to what it's like to be working in a company as an engineer. And again, they have a global vision of all the domains and the various companies that exist. And many of our students, in fact, also go on to become managers. So management, as I said, is a very important part of that. So this is the approach we have. This is a very brief multidisciplinary, not universities. We are independent from universities. We are what we call graduate schools. And so in fact, we are quite small in size. You have here some numbers. I'm not going to read them all because I think you can see them on the screen. But this gives an indication of how small we are in terms of size. The largest is Centrale Supélec, just outside Paris. But this also means that we have a very good, close relation with students because the groups tend to be quite small, apart from the lectures, where lectures are maybe 100 to 300 students. But there is a very good, close relationship between professors and students. Students know who they can go and see if they have problems, and we have a very good working relationship with our students. One perhaps point I could make is about the budget. We are state-funded schools, so we depend on the Ministry of Education in France, but nearly half of our budget also comes from industry because we have a lot of research contracts, a lot of direct exchanges with companies, and so that also allows us to have a very close relationship with these companies, and it allows us to fund many interesting projects, leading-edge projects that are being carried out as we speak. Of course, we have a lot of laboratories, either which belong solely to Ecoles Centrale or which we share with the universities in our various regions, 33 in total. And of course, we have a very wide
I think that there is some problem with the connection.
Yes, there is some problem with the connection.
Of course, this is something that can occur when we have to do these remote conferences. So I hope that Simon Davis, okay.
Are we still here? Sorry.
Oh yes, sorry, we lost you for some like
apologize.
1 minute.
Okay. Okay. So I was just talking about the statistics on the slide. Can you hear me now?
More or less, yes.
More or less. Okay. Okay. So I hope the connection will remain. So I apologize. There is obviously a bit of a connection issue. So I was talking about some of the statistics on the slide. I was talking about our budget. As I say, half of our budget comes from industry because we have very close links with industry. And I was just mentioning that our international network, as you can see, we have over 100 partners around the world. And I was also mentioning the association with our former students, former Centrale students. We have a very, very well established and well developed alumni association around the world. There are many representatives of Centrale students in industry working in many countries around the world. And as I said before, and I will come back to this point as well, we have a lot of partnerships with some of the top companies in France, but also around the world. So you can see some examples: Siemens, Renault, Bouygues, EDF, and this is very important to us as well. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Please don't hesitate to come back to me if there's something which is not clear. Yes, this is an interesting little slide we often use to try to explain what a Centrale engineer is and how he or she fits into a company. And so the image we've chosen for this is a music orchestra. So think of a group of musicians, whether it's a large orchestra or a small group, a chamber orchestra or a music group. In any music formation, there are the musicians who play an instrument. And in an orchestra, of course, there is always a musician who is specialized in one instrument. So somebody who plays the trombone, a violinist, of course, a flautist, someone who plays the bassoon. So each musician, of course, has a very high specialized knowledge of his or her instrument and contributes to the orchestra. Where could we place the Centrale engineer within this orchestra? Well, we like to see the Centrale engineer as the conductor. That is to say, he or she probably plays several instruments, not just one, maybe has not got a top level of mastery of an instrument, but is capable of playing several, but is also, more importantly, capable of bringing everything together, understanding the music, working with all the members of the orchestra or the group, and allowing them to, giving them space to work together, but bringing them in harmony. That's basically what the conductor does. Holds the beat, holds the rhythm, makes sure that everybody's reading from the same page. And that's how we like to see a Centrale engineer. So not specialized, but with a broad view of different parts of the music and able to bring everything together. So I hope that helps you have a good understanding of how a Centrale engineer is, how we train our engineers to function in industry. So the other advantage of Centrale students of engineering science is that once they graduate from our, you can see a little pie chart here on this slide, which gives an idea of some of the domains where students go after they graduate from our school. So of course we have all the fields of engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, transport, chemical, ocean, building, of course. But we also have banking, we also have consulting. Many of our students become interested in consulting and go on to that. Electrical, of course, nuclear, or even, of course, they go on to do a PhD and maybe become professors themselves. So this is just to show you that our students are capable of being recruited into all sectors of industry and higher education once they graduate from Ecoles Centrale. And this is just to give you a general idea of how interesting our students become for industry once they have obtained their degree. If I move to the next slide, this is just to allow you to understand a little bit better how we function. So as I said, we are not universities. We do have, of course, universities in France, and these universities function on the European Anglo-Saxon model, just like in Trento, of course, the 3 years which corresponds to the bachelor's degree, and then 2 years, of course, in a master's degree. In Ecoles Centrale, it's a little bit different. We don't award a bachelor's degree. We only award a master's degree once they've finished. And you can see that the model we have here on the left corresponds to the 5 years, but only the last 3 take place in Ecoles Centrale. So the first 2 years are what we call the classe préparatoire in French. This is the preparatory schools. So once a student in France has obtained his or her baccalaureate, the high school diploma, the best students are selected to go on to do these preparation classes to prepare for the entrance examinations for an Ecoles Centrale. So they spend at least 2 years Sometimes they don't actually succeed in the second year, so they do another year and come back in the third. So sometimes they take 3 years, but they are studying for 2-3 years, high-level mathematics, physics, all the scientific fields in order to take the entrance examinations to the École Centrale. In fact, there's not just the École Centrale, because as you may know, in France, we have several of these, what we call Grande École. There are many other examples. But the point is that students have to take very rigorous selective examinations in order to be accepted. So after the second year, they then enter École Centrale, and you can see here engineering year 1 and year 2, which corresponds to the multidisciplinary engineering, which I just explained earlier. And then in the final year, specialization, because only 1 year, but students can go or electronics or civil or chemical engineering, whatever they choose, and that's the 3 years. But at the end, students will have spent 3 years in École Centrale, and they all receive the same École Centrale degree, which is a multidisciplinary Centrale engineering degree. Okay, this is just to compare the two. So the degree at the end is a master level, but it doesn't quite correspond to the university education system we have in France. And as I said, we are very selective, and this little pyramid gives you an idea of how selective we are with our French students. If we imagine that every year in France, there are about 600,000 high school graduates in all the fields, including 150,000 in science. Of those students, about 25,000 will be selected to go to these preparatory classes to prepare for the entrance examinations. And in the case of École Centrale, at the very end, we select just over 2,000. So we go from, let's say, 150,000 scientific students to 2,000 at the end. So you can see how very selective we are. These are for the French students, of course. In the case of our international and Italian students, we would select students based on their academic results and their motivations. But this is how we recruit most of the French students in our French system. Some photos to show you some of our former students who've now gone on to greatness, as we should say. You probably don't know some of the, or many of these, but they are quite well known in France. It's just to show you again how wide the sector is of recruitment for our students in various engineering domains. President of France Télévisions as well, so the big television network in France. And as you can see, some of the quite famous companies, Air Liquide, Thales, Peugeot, Schlumberger, Michelin. So many of our students go on to occupy high management positions once they graduate from our various schools. Is everything okay? Can everybody still hear me all right? Nope, I guess not. So,
we kind of lost you for a few moments, but we've heard all the alumni presentation.
Okay, I was just wondering if there are any questions, because I can't see the chat. So if Marco, if you find any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt me.
Yeah, for the moment there are no questions, but I invite again the students just to write questions in the chat, and I will pass the question to the speaker.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'll continue then. This is also a very large list. This is again just to give you an idea of all the partnerships we have, corporate and networking. As I said, we have very, very close links to companies, and we like the fact that our students, when they come to us, of course, they can have their first professional major internships in any of these companies, either in France or abroad. So practical work is very important for us, and having experience of companies and corporate life is also an essential part of being an École Centrale student. So you can see so many examples and once again, you can see how we cover a very wide variety of engineering fields and science and technical fields in the world. So as I said, industrial life is very important for our students. The first industrial
I think that there are again some problems with the connection. But
Yes, I confirm.
Yeah. Yeah. Fabian, if you want to say something about the job networking sessions or...
Yes, indeed, I have also the presentation of on my computer, so I will try to find it. I don't know if Simon
back again.
can
okay, Simon is back again.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening, but there's obviously a problem with the internet connection. So
So we lost you when you were starting presenting the JNS.
okay, perfect. Thank you, Marco. So once again, my apologies. I was talking about the very close links with industry, as I mentioned, and I can't stress this enough. For us, you know, it's important that students are still, as soon as they arrive in École Centrale, that they should have experience, direct experience with companies. So I was talking about the internships. So every year, our students are required to carry out an internship within a company and get some experience. So in the first year, it represents about 4 or 5 weeks. So the first year is a chance for the students to get a first experience of working in a company, discovering corporate life, working maybe in the factory, on an assembly line, but getting a first knowledge of the real life, as it were. In the second year, the internship becomes longer. It depends on the École Centrale, but it's normally 2 or 3 months. And now the student is working as an assistant engineer and working on some projects that are being carried out by various companies. So this is very important. And then in the final year, the third year, whereas in Italy, you'll probably be doing your research master's thesis. In France, most of our students are again doing an industrial experience of about 5 to 6 months, working as an engineer, working on some of the big projects that companies are carrying out. And this is what counts towards their final degree in École Centrale. They then have to write a report on this and carry out an oral presentation. And this validates their degree at the end. So the internships become take up more and more space in the teaching and become more and more important as the students progress. But also, as I said before, many of our teachers, many of our professors are recruited from industry, and they come on to lead workshops, to teach classes, to give lectures, roundtables, job fairs. So students every day they are in contact with people from industry. And finally, and this is something we've been doing in Italy now for the last 2 or 3 years, is a job networking session. So we take advantage of our partnerships with our friends and colleagues in Italy, including Trento, and we organised every year a meeting between companies and students who are involved in a double degree, so French students and also Italian students. And this is an opportunity for them to meet these people from industry, to present their CVs, to dialogue, to be interviewed, and hopefully to obtain a further contact or even a first recruitment in a job. So we bring together French and Italian students and top companies. So last year we were in Turin. 2 years ago we were in Milano. Maybe one day we'll be in Trento. But in any case, the idea is to bring students and companies together and to allow them to have a contact. And as I say, hopefully this could lead to future exchanges. So that's very important for us. Okay, so what can École Centrale offer you students from Trento? We offer a double degree. So basically you are studying in Trento for your engineering degree, your master's degree at the end. But you also have the opportunity to come to us and to study for a double degree. So that is to say, at the end, you would receive the degree of engineering from École Centrale. So there are basically 2 paths which students follow. So you can either spend 2 years in Trento, do the second year of your bachelor's degree. And instead of doing your 3rd year of bachelor's in Italy, you would come to us and you would do the 1st and 2nd year of our multidisciplinary engineering course at École Centrale. Then you would go back to Trento and you would do the 2 years of the master's. That's one possibility. The second possibility is to do all of your bachelor's degree in Trento and the 1st year of the master's degree, and then transfer and do the 2nd and 3rd year of our course in École Centrale. And again, you would receive your degree, of course, your master's degree from Trento, and the engineering degree from École Centrale. So, of course, as you can see, you have to do 1 year more, but of course, that's a compensation for the fact that you are receiving 2 master's degrees in engineering, one from your university in Trento and one from an École Centrale. And so this is the advantage of such a system, is that at the end you get 2 master's degrees, and one will be your specialist master's degree from Trento, and one will be the multidisciplinary engineering degree from École Centrale. So for one year, I think the payoff is really good. Just for 1 extra year, you can have 2 master's degrees instead of 1. And just to come back to what I mentioned at the beginning, so your training would be on all the fundamental sciences. As we said, maths and physics is very important, and all fields of engineering. So you would come to École Centrale if you are, for example, if you're doing industrial engineering in Trento, well, you'll do industrial engineering in École Centrale, but you will also do other engineering fields: electronics, mechanics, computer science, material science, fluid mechanics. So as I said, we cover all the fields. So you would have a chance to discover other engineering courses and with a French approach, adopting a French way of studying these subjects. Plus the humanities side, which I mentioned before, the languages, the economics, the management, the project work. So all this is what we offer in the 3 years of École Centrale. And of course, as I said, we have the final year, which is not exactly a specialization, but allows students to go further into a certain field of engineering. And so you can see here that we have many fields, from applied mathematics, aeronautics, nanotechnology, civil engineering, industrial engineering. And you can see some examples of some of the laboratories and some of the facilities that we have in each of the École Centrale. The teaching is mainly in French, but we are moving more and more to teaching at least some instruction in English. But you would also receive French tuition if you come to École Centrale. So you will be taken into consideration. You will be welcomed into French classes, and this would also allow you to improve your French if you haven't studied it already. Okay, and of course, work and study is one thing, but we also think that being in École Centrale really allows the students to bloom, to flourish, and to enjoy themselves. There are many student clubs and associations, and we feel that this is as important as the work in education. It's a chance for students to carry out their passion, to do what they love, to carry out sport, to play sports. We have competitions between École Centrale in various fields: rugby, football, basketball, handball. There's also sailing, music, anything you can think of. You will probably find an association in École Centrale. And if you don't find it, you can create one, because of course there are clubs and associations being created all the time. So those are sporting and, let's say, hobbies and interests, but there are also professional clubs as well. So we have a junior enterprise in each École Centrale, which is very active in France. Every École Centrale has its own job fair. So every year, companies are invited to come to an École Centrale and to exchange with the students. And this is organized by the students themselves. We have about 100 companies every year come to Centrale Lille over 2 days to allow students to meet with them and to get some contacts. But the students organize everything, and they have their own association for that. Also, we have associations which are to do with social responsibility. So Centrale students realize that they are very fortunate to be where they are. And so they get involved in lots of charity organizations, helping people from disadvantaged backgrounds, helping children with cancer to realize their dreams, working with, in developing countries, working on projects. For us, it's very important to have a well-rounded personality. For us, an engineer is somebody who's also at the service of others, helping those who are less, have fewer advantages or less advantages that the Centrale students have. And that for us is very important, helping others, being at the service of others. So there are many associations. And if you come to École Centrale, we encourage you to get involved in this and to help out in the various associations and clubs that exist. Okay, I'm going to come to an end because while my internet connection is still working. Just to conclude, so depending on how you come to Centrale, whether you come for a double degree or just for a semester or maybe for a year, you will get a multidisciplinary curriculum. As we said, a broad overview of, technical subjects, challenging problems, the problems that society and the world is facing. You will have a first approach to, and we welcome, of course, the different approaches that students have to trying to solve the problems that we are facing in the world at the moment. So high-level scientific courses, but also the soft skills, as I mentioned, the languages and humanities, all this will be part of the package that we can offer you if you come to our École Centrale. And also the soft skills, the corporate networking, and learning French. You know that there are millions of people that speak French in the world. It's a fast-growing language. So it's something which you can also add to your CV, the ability to communicate and work in a French-speaking environment. And we hope a passport for an amazing career. So we hope that you will consider this possibility, and you are welcome to apply to us. We are always happy to receive applications from students from Italy and from Trento, of course. So thank you very much. I just want to end by showing you our email addresses. So if you have any specific questions, you are welcome to contact us. I have sent this presentation to my colleagues in Trento, so this will be available to you anyway. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions or if you're interested in applying to our schools. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm sorry about the internet problems.
Thank you, Simon, also from us. I don't know if there are any questions in the chat.
Yes, there is one, let's say, technical question. Maybe, I think that Sirna, I don't know if, because the question, I tell this in Italian, in English, if the students of the third year have to wait to finish the fourth year to participate to the program.
Yes.
And this is, yes, but I think that Virna will illustrate this maybe.
Yes, well, I'm not going later into too much detail about each double degree, but in this case, for the group of École Centrale, students can apply either during their second year of the bachelor's degree or in the first year of their master's degree. So the third year is a year where they have to wait and perhaps learn the language and look into the websites of the 5 Écoles Centrale so they can have an idea of what they are going to find if they decide to apply.
So I'm just showing again the slide with the difference, the two schemes. So this is, I guess, is what Fiona, you are explaining about when the students can apply to us.
I'm also writing the answers in Italian in the chat, so I think that the students can can have a double information in 2 languages.
Perfect.
Okay, we can give them a minute or 2 to think if they have any questions. If not, I can start my presentation and perhaps wait at the end if they have more questions.
We are still here, so you know,
Okay, so
we can wait for any potential questions. It's not a problem.
Okay, so can you all see my presentation? Yes. Okay, as I said, I work at the International Mobility Office for the Science and Technology area. And today, if it works, I would like to give you just this brief overview of the types of mobility you can do abroad and how you can do that. Of course, you're probably aware that you can do a mobility for study, meaning that you go abroad, you attend courses at a foreign institution, you get the credits which are recognized. But you can also go abroad to carry out research for your thesis or to do an internship. We have agreements with both European and non-European countries, so basically you can go anywhere in the world, and you can do that through several programs. Double degree, which you've just heard about, Erasmus+, which is probably the best known program, bilateral agreements, and the G4, which is an international network of engineering schools, or through our calls for thesis abroad or internship abroad. Oops, sorry. I would like to stress something which is common for all mobility programs, and which is the importance of the language knowledge. Because language is a condition you have to have at the moment of application. So we strongly encourage you, if you're interested in doing a mobility, even in the future, in the coming years, to start looking at the courses offered at our Center for Languages, the CLA, and start learning the language. I put here this scene from a very famous film. I wanted to show you the clip, but too many ads are popping up, so you'll have to look for it yourselves if you're interested. But in any case, in this scene, the actor, who's Toto, he thinks he's speaking German, but in fact, he's speaking in a very broken and poor French. So we do not want you to end up like this. So learn the language, basically. The important thing, which is new for this year, is that we have not launched the calls for outgoing mobility in October. You were probably used to seeing the calls in this period. But because of the pandemic, and because regarding Erasmus, the new program guide has not been finalized by the European Commission yet, we have decided to postpone all the calls for mobilities to January, February, and that will be for mobilities in 2021, 2022. Another thing to bear in mind is that when we publish the calls, we always have grants linked to these calls. So we select students, and you would, if you're selected, if you're successful, you would also get a scholarship, which is a help, a contribution towards your mobility. Two important things to remember: you won't have to pay tuition fees at the hosting university. There are some partners which ask for some administrative fees, but in general, you have to renew your enrollment, even for the year where you are on a mobility, and pay tuition fees only at the University of Trento. And finally, there is a myth I'd like to debunk. There is this legend that you might go abroad and do credits which are not recognized, but this cannot be the case. This is not the case. Of course, you have to agree on a learning agreement before going, which has to be approved by both the sending and the hosting institution. But if you meet the conditions of the learning agreement, you passed the exams that you had agreed upon before starting the mobility, then you will get the credits. Now I'm showing you just what mobility programs we have. So this is this overview. Erasmus Study, as I said, is the most known program. You're probably all familiar with it. And it is for mobility of 1 or 2 semesters in one of our partner institutions in Europe. When we launch the call, what you have to do is look for the destinations in the call and see what's available for you, for your department and your study course, your degree. The grants vary between 350 and 400 euros per month. At least that was the Erasmus Plus program until now, and they depend on the destination. We have also bilateral agreements and G4 destinations, which are a very similar type of mobility to Erasmus, but they are outside Europe. And in this case, the grants are made available from University of Trento funds and not from the EU. And the grants in this case are paid per semester. You normally go abroad here again for studies, so to attend classes and get credits. Double degree is the program which is an integrated program between two universities. You've just heard about the double degree with the group of the École Centrale. In some cases, there is a longer duration, and this is the case of the double degrees we have within the time network. The group of École Centrale is a member of the time network, like we are, so the top international managers in engineering. Inside this network, we have several double degrees with also other partners. And the importance of it is that at the end, you have 2 degrees. Professor Davies was mentioning before all the opportunities that their students have, saying our students, our connections with corporates and companies. You just have to remember that once you are a double degree student, you are one of their students. So you have exactly the same rights and opportunities as a Centralienne, for example, in this case. We have also EIT programs, the EIT programs, EIT Digital and EIT Raw Materials, which is also a double degree for which you would get 2 diplomas. And in this case, the application and grants are managed by the EIT consortium, but we have dedicated pages on our website, and we're here to answer questions you might have. In this case, the University of Trento may be either the entry point or the exit point. 2 programs, 2 calls which are very popular and much liked by our students are the ones for thesis research abroad and traineeship abroad. These are very flexible programs because it is the student who proposes the destination. So you can go wherever you want, provided there is a letter of acceptance and a support letter from the supervisor. The details are on our website. I won't explain that in too much detail, but they are flexible. There is a monthly deadline, and more or less you can start your mobility 1 month or 1.5 months after the monthly deadline. Grants are paid in total, so it's 900 euros for the 3 months in a European country for the thesis, 1,800 euros if you go outside Europe. Whereas the grants for traineeship are 450 or 500 per month, depending on the European destination, or 600 euros per month for non-EU countries. This is all. This is the overview I wanted to give you. Where you can find this information is on our international website. So if you want to make a note of the website, you will find this page, and you can scroll down the Going Abroad menu and find both the open calls, and there is also a page on each specific program. We have added a lot of information about double degrees, specifically for each destination. We have also video clips from former double degree students, our alumni, and it's very interesting, I think, if you go and see what they have to say about their experience. So that's all from me. This is our email address, mobility@unitn.it. Please identify yourself when you send us an email, because there are several people in our office, and it's easier for us to answer and to identify you. I will put our presentations on the web pages dedicated to the double degree, and specifically the double degree with Centrale. That's all from me.
Maybe Virna, can you give some specific details about the double degree with the École Centrale? I mean, for instance, the language requirement. I wrote that in the chat, answering a question by the student, that they need to have the A2 level when they apply, or the B1 level of French plus a B2 level of English for the Centrale Supélec. But maybe, I mean, if you have some other details.
Yes, we will put all the specifications on the, of course, on the call. Depending on the fact whether you are a bachelor degree or a master's degree, you might have a slightly different requirement for the average you have to have, which is either 25 or 26. The language requirement is the same for all the schools except Centrale Supélec, which has a slightly higher requirement for French. So as Marco said, this year in particular, we will ask for this requirement at the moment of application because all the calls are delayed. So we won't have much time. We won't have much time to apply and then send out the application to our partner institutions because all has to be done during the spring. So you will be requested to have an A2 of French or B1 of French in the case of Centrale Supélec at the time of application. We will also have language test session organized together with the Center for Languages for those of you who do not have an international certifications or if you do not have the language in your study plan. And this session is dedicated to students who want to apply for our mobility programs. The study plan varies, of course, according to your study course, because the double degree with the group of the École Centrale is open to the 3 departments. Well, I cannot now list all the different opportunities, but I'm really happy if you write us an email with your specific questions, and the study plan will have to be tailored to, of course, your study plan, depending on whether you're a bachelor student, a master student. Something I haven't mentioned before is that you can apply for the double degree with the group of École Centrale when you are in the 2nd year of your bachelor's degree, if you want to do 2 years in France and then come back. And this is only for the 2 departments of civil engineering, civil environmental and mechanical engineering, and industrial engineering. But there is a condition: in order to get the diplôme d'ingénieur, you have to come back and do the master's degree in Trento. So since the diplôme d'ingénieur corresponds to our master's, you also have to complete a master's then in Trento. Have I answered?
I think so. Thank you, Virna. There is another question that asks for the possibility to have, let's say, a discussion with a responsible for the mobility in Trento to have more information about a specific destination. And I think that probably Virna is the best person to start with, because she knows everything about all the destinations. But then, of course, either me for the Department of Civil Environmental Engineering and Mechanical Engineering, or Gian Domenico for Industrial Engineering, or Giacomo Oliveri for information. How is the name?
Computer science.
Computer science. Essentially for Centrale Supélec, the destination that computer science and engineering, information engineering department is related to is Centrale Supélec.
Of course, they can send me an email, and I mean, we have meetings with students also via Zoom or Google Meet. So we are not doing office hours in person, but we're happy to answer either telephone, email, or even better via Zoom, because it's easier.
So I can write that, I mean, that the first contact is writing you at the email address mobility.
Yes.
And then I will copy everything. Okay.
Any more questions, Marco?
Sorry, not for the moment. but as you know, there is some delay between us and the streaming in YouTube, so we can wait for let's say 1 minute at least. And I would invite the students also to ask questions specifically to the let's say our friends in the École Centrale, because I mean they are still here, and so they can answer also to curiosities or something that still needs some clarification. I would like to add that these are very prestigious opportunity, and as you have seen, I mean, if you would be a French student, the selection will be very strong. So having the possibility to go to the École Centrale from Italy directly without doing the class préparatoire is something which is a big advantage with respect to the standard students. And so I think it's really a pity not to exploit this possibility. And I mean, for our experience, we have seen that all the students that from Trento went to the École Centrale were very satisfied. They have also brilliant careers, and also the possibility to do the stage, the internships in the industry is very important also for the future jobs, because this is something that will allow you to have a direct experience, and so this is something that is recognized by the industry in general, or by the job market. And in general, I mean, all students tend to have a job, let's say, immediately when they finish.
I don't have the exact statistics, but yeah, that's a very good remark, Marco. I believe now it's more than 80% of once they graduate from École Centrale, they get a permanent contract within 6 months of leaving. So it could even be higher than that. But yeah, there is a very good recruitment potential for students when they graduate. And you mentioned the internships, and again, I can't stress more than the importance of experience. You know, these days it's unfair that companies are requiring candidates for jobs to have experience, and you know, it's very, very difficult to get experience. So the fact that we offer students, or we oblige students to do internships during their studies with us over the 3 years, is a good way for them to get some, you know, hands-on experience of industry. And I think that's something which is very important as well.
There is another question that asks for more information about the parameters that are used to select the students for the École Centrale. I don't know if it is, let's say, focus on our students from Trento, and so this is what Virna was saying. So basically,
well, I imagine they want to know how we select them. So in the case of our call, we normally check the academic performance, so your degrees and average, motivation letter, and language knowledge is instead a condition in order to be able to apply. So your academic overall performance. And there is an interview for double degree, for the double degree program. So you will have to take an interview with a selection committee too.
Maybe something that is good to know is that, I mean, the skills in mathematics, physics that the students are required to have is, are quite strong. So I think that what is done in the class préparatoire is a strong preparation in the fundamental topics like mathematics, physics, chemistry, and these things. But I think that especially mathematics is something that our students have to know well. I mean, typically the teaching that our students receive during the first years of the bachelor are focused on mathematics. And so this allows them to have good possibilities to continue also in the following years at the École Centrale. But I think this is something that is very important. So, I mean, being good in mathematics is something that is somehow implicitly required. But I think that Simon maybe can add some further comments on that.
Either me or maybe perhaps my more scientific colleagues, because I am not a scientist myself, but you are right, of course. Yeah, mathematics is very demanding in France, and the students are required to have a good level. I don't know, maybe Fabien or Alberto, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, that's right, because as I say to my students, when you manage very well mathematics, you can do any kind of things in science. You can be good in physics, you can be good in chemistry, you can be good in informatics. But if you are not good in maths, you will not be very good neither in physics, nor in chemistry, nor in informatics. So especially for us in France, where teaching is a bit formal and using a lot of equations, mathematics is really a key parameter for succeeding. But anyway, we do not want people who will apply for teaching in maths, but students who feel, as we say in French, agile. I don't know how to say it in English, but who feel comfortable with maths. It's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I may add something, we ask bachelor students to have an average of at least 26 in mathematical analysis because of these requirements that the École Centrale have.
But
yes,
if I can just...
It's pretty good, I think. Yes?
Just maybe to complete, it's true that, let's say, the class preparatoire is really hard for all the scientific disciplines. But let's say from the experience that at least we got in Centrale Lyon, I cannot speak for the other École Centrale, but I think is actually the same. We didn't have problems or we didn't have experience with Italian students that came for the double degree exchange, and then at the end had problems because their preparation lack in mathematics, for example. So it's true, it is we required a strong knowledge of that, but at least from the past experience that we had, all the students that came were well, they were able to make it. So I'm pretty sure that you are, let's say, comfortable. I mean, your students are quite good in this. So just to maybe not push too much stress on this point.
No, absolutely, yeah. And also to come back to what Viana said, and I completely agree about that as well. It's true that academic results are important, but also motivation. And you know, I encourage you, if you are applying, to work on your motivational letter about what are the reasons. You know, what's the project? Why do you want to come to France? Why come and study in École Centrale? And how you sort of, you know, I'm not asking you to say where you are going to be in 10 years' time, but you know, it's part of it's like a professional project. And I think that will help is also with the application. So results are important, but they're not everything. And it's the same for our students. When our students apply to universities around the world, we say, okay, academic results are important, but also think about why you are applying. What's the reason behind it, and what is your project? And I think that's very important too.
Any more questions on the chat?
Okay, not for the moment. Yeah, but I can say that motivation is very important, and if students is highly motivated, I mean, can do everything. And we had some experience of, I mean, students facing some problems, but with the high motivation, they were able to solve any difficulties that they encountered. And so I think these are very, very important. Probably this is the most important thing, as Simon was saying. So.
And also, I just wanted to remind you what I said at the beginning, that, you know, we are not universities. We're quite small structures. And so there is a good ratio of professors to students. And so we like to feel that, you know, if students do have difficulties, and particularly international students, because, you know, we are welcoming students from around the world. And we have, you know, we have Chinese students coming to us, Brazilian students, you know, so sometimes they have cultural difficulties or language difficulties. And so we like to feel that they know they can turn to us, you know, and there's a good relation between the professors and the students. We can, you know, we can help them with extra work, or we can coach them. So, you know, the important thing is not to, for them not to feel alone, not to feel isolated, but, you know, to come to us if they are finding it difficult. And we are there to help. You know, it's important for, we want the students to succeed. Of course, we don't want them to fail. So it's very important that they should come to us if they do have difficulties.
Thank you.
Okay, there are no other questions. I think that maybe a final comment. I think that if I'm talking to students, if you will do this, I mean, your life will change. I mean, this is what we noticed. I mean, the students were completely different after the experience at the École Centrale. And basically, they were stronger, more enthusiastic, and I would say that they were looking at the future with more confidence. And so I think that they knew that they were able to do interesting things and to acquire some knowledge, which is not the usual one. So I think this is an experience that you should try to do, at least if you can.
And I think it's also a cultural aspect as well, because, you know, you're coming to France and you're living in France for 2 years, and you're also learning, you may be learning some similar subjects to what you're learning in Trento, but you're also learning from a French approach. And for me, that's also important. And I totally agree with what Marco said. It really boosts confidence. I've met students, former students who've done a double degree, and they always say, I was transformed. It's really given me confidence in myself. It's really opened up the world to me, you know. I mean, you don't have to live abroad after a double degree, but many students do stay in the country where they did their double degree, or they go to another country because they have this international profile, and they get a taste for that, and they want to go somewhere else and learn another culture. So yeah, it's a very, it's a real package. It's not just the education side; it's the cultural side. It's what it is to be an engineer. It's, you know, opening up to the society, opening up to the world, and trying to help other people. And I think that's a very important thing.
Okay, I think, sorry.
No, I don't know if we have still a few minutes. I just would like to add one more thing about that, if you allow me, or I don't know if you have time. Just maybe because, let's say, since I come from Italy, I know I have, let's say, the division of the two ways of teaching and way of thinking, let's say, the engineering courses. One interesting point that I found in France is that from the student point of view, let's say, you will be put in an environment that is small, as Simon said. So you have more interaction with the teacher, with the professors. This is one point, but the other point is that you will be put, let's say, forced to work in strict relations with the other students. So you will have to do a lot of let's say, student projects in small groups. So in this sense, you will be trained to really to become the main actor of your studies. So you will be pushed to practice and to have exchange with the other disciplines. And it is really an interactive environment. In this sense, I think it is really a great experience, apart all the, let's say, the fact that you will discover a new culture. But also from, let's say, if you look only on the let's say, technical and teaching aspects, it would be also very, very interesting to see another way to teach and to learn, basically. So, sorry for the time.
Thank you. So I think we can say thank you to our friends from École Centrale. Thank you all for attending from YouTube, and I hope that we will receive many emails and many questions. And well, see you soon, hopefully, and goodbye.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Fabien.
Yes, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
do not hesitate
Thank
to
you.
contact us in France. It doesn't mean that you will have to write something formal, but you just can ask questions and inquire, and do not hesitate. We are very open, and This is
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
new way of interacting now. Just feel free to ask questions.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Take care. Stay
Thank
safe.
you. Bye.
Bye.